Hey, what's going on everybody? Mike here, AHC Garage. Welcome back to the channel. We have a 2008 FA5 Honda Civic Si on our channel today, and we are doing a Kraftwerks Supercharger. John, tell us more.
Well, this is pretty cool. This is probably one of the best all-around bolt-in supercharger kits that you could do for the 8th gen. And with this one, there's not a whole lot of compromises. You get to keep your air conditioning, everything like that. Comes with a new intake manifold, brackets, belts, intercooler, everything that's needed for it. We did this kit one time, a long time ago. I think when it was relatively new kit, is with our buddy Andrew. He's going to be here to give us a hand since he is the professional triple master tech, and he'll sell you a house too. He does everything, all of the above. Four master techs is what the number is I'm getting. But here's the kit. Everything's inside this box. We're going to open it up and we'll go over everything we have, and then probably going to be a little bit of instruction reading going on here, seeing as the last time I worked on anything like this was 8 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. I think it should be pretty fun.
Hey John, but we have the triple master tech here, so I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time on instruction. My apology.
Yeah.
But aside from that, can you give us a little bit more about this 2008 Honda Civic here?
So this car's been through a couple of friends of mine's hands. Every time it left one person, with the next one got a little bit better, more things fixed up. So it's just basically a stock Civic Si Fiji Blue Pearl with the Mugen front lip, and I think these are the Group M style or Mugen over fender with it, and also the webbed wheels. And he has the carbon fiber replica Mugen spoiler as well. And he's done a lot of paint correction stuff on it to bring it back. This car was a little bit rough with the paint, and that's what Brent's specialty is paint. And he brought this thing back. It looks beautiful. Other than that, it's got coilovers and bolt-ons. The clutch is upgraded. I believe the fuel system is already upgraded on the car as well. So really all that we need to do is install the kit and get it tuned. And I think we might have brakes to do. I don't know if we're going to do that on this episode or not, but we'll see. So should be pretty straightforward. Supercharger is going to sit in this general area. So that's what I got now. Let's see how it all pans out. That's a small understated sticker. All right, so we have everything laid out that comes with the kit. It's a whole lot going on here, but it's all encompassing on every part of it. We have our intercooler with the custom brackets for it. We have all of our charge pipe. The charge pipe comes pre-installed with all of the fittings, couplers, and hoses. This is our bypass valve, our oil cooler, the supercharger itself, the oil reservoir for the supercharger, the filter for it. This is our tensioner bracket and supercharger mounting bracket, the oil for the supercharger, our belt, the Skunk 2 modified intake manifold that works only with this kit, the Grams injectors. I don't know if they're Grams injectors or not, but the injectors that come, yeah, they are Grams, and the adapter plugs for it, and a new AC line. This is the whole kit. It's going to take us a little bit to get it all done. We're going to start breaking things down and see how far we can get. All right, so we got the front bumper off and we have our oil cooler that we have to mount. It's supposed to go in this general area and we have the mounts for it. So now we're just kind of sketching it out to make sure we get everything mounted nice and even. All right, so we got everything pretty much broke down. The only last thing we have to remove is this AC line. Now we're gonna start mounting up our brackets over here and running some of our lines. So you can see we have a little bit of oil leak coming down from our valve cover gasket and also from the VTC strainer. So we'll end up changing this gasket out. We'll see if he wants to do the valve cover gasket now or not, but we'll clean up all this extra residue. But from here, it's going back the other way, already halfway done. That's what happens when you have the quadruple master tech here to help you. All right, so we spoke to the customer and he said okay to go ahead and fix some of the oil leaks, which the VTEC solenoid is leaking. It could possibly be leaking from the solenoid, but we're gonna replace the gasket where it mounts to the head, our VTC actuator, and there's a new valve cover with this, so we're gonna throw a new valve cover gasket kit at it while we're at it. We cleaned up a lot of the old mess that was there, and I guess we'll just go ahead and slap the new stuff on now. So we have the new valve cover. This is been powder coated by Charlie Moa. He's pretty well known in the valve cover area. Very good work. They clean everything off, leave where it doesn't need to have powder coat on it. And also we have the baffle that we're gonna reinstall on it. We're probably gonna not put this on until very last part on the car. We don't wanna accidentally nick or chip the pretty finish on it. So we'll just set the new valve cover or the old valve cover on until we're ready to put this one on at the end. This should look really nice with everything all together. Drew's taking off the condenser and the radiator. We probably should have talked to the customer before we mount this, but we're just gonna get some new mounting clips. The condenser is really corroded. All the fins are just falling out of it, as you can see. So while we're here, we're gonna go ahead and get a new condenser. We'll remount this to the new one. And we also suggested that he picks up a KoyoRad radiator. That way it'll just help keep all of the temperatures down with the extra load that we're getting from the supercharger. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this stuff out, just get it out the way so we don't have to worry about it while we're working on the rest of the stuff. So what we're doing now is disassembling the bracket and tensioner system. It comes all assembled because to install it, everything has to go in individually. And you don't want to lose any bolts. But only a quadruple master tech would know that. Our seasoned professional supercharger installer on the team today told us that we should inspect these plugs, add some Honda Bond to them, and properly seal them. So at the moment, that's what we're doing, because if you don't listen to experience, you're making a mistake.
If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's why we don't let them talk. All right, so once again, with the help of our quadruple master tech, Andrew Girk, this is the man right here, this guy, yes. We got the intake manifold on, and we have the bracket and the supercharger mounted. Without his help, none of this would be possible. And now we're getting ready to put on the custom Kraftwerks supercharger belt, which I think it's a, it's all branded by them, so I don't know. I would assume it might have been a Gates. So now we're gonna put this in. The interesting thing about this setup is, since this car already comes with a tensioner in this area. The routing's the same as stock. So we're just gonna route it like stock. Instead of it being on a little idler pulley down here, it goes in this big old supercharger. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and install the new KoyoRad radiator. And just like the other ones you've seen on our channel, this is the same idea. Factory fitment on these, which is awesome. Makes it very easy to install. This one has more of a polished finish to it, less brushed like our other ones we've had. And as you can see, it has all the factory mounting points as far as down here for our secondary coolant temp sensor, the brackets for the fans, even the little hole here where the harness clips into. Everything is there, along with an extra bung, possibly for another temperature sensor if you wanted. But these things are awesome. Fit and finish is like factory, but with the upgraded cooling capacity with the larger radiator and the aluminum end tanks. Okay, I see what we have here is the upgraded coolant neck for this. So we're gonna reuse this hose, but at least now the whole entire thing is aluminum. So now we don't have any plastic components on the radiator itself. This is nice. It'll fit just like factory on here. I didn't even know they made that. Very nice. And we do have a radiator cap to go with it from Koyo. They do not come with radiator caps. You have to order them separately. All right, so you saw we kind of jumped the gun when we first started this. We mounted the oil cooler to the condenser. Now that we have went ahead and bought a new condenser to replace the old one, which let me show you. This is the old one, and you can see all of our fins here. They're just rotting away here. If I go like this with this, they're just completely disintegrating whenever you touch them. So, and this was like this without anyone touching it. So, you know, they're aluminum. They don't last forever. You can see these. Even when I push it across it, nothing's happening. But on this one, it would just break. So we figured it would be a good thing, knowing that if you ever owned an 8th gen Civic Si, the ACs are mediocre at best the way they perform and cool. I think it has to do with the big dashboard on it. But nevertheless, new condensers going in. So we're going to go ahead and get this mounted onto it with our new kit that we had to rebuy because I already used the one that came with the kit. And we'll get that on the car. Then we can start running our charge pipe. All right, so we have the charge pipe from the supercharger. This will be called the hot side from the supercharger to the inlet of the intercooler. We have that all set up. We did have to trim a little bit on the condenser and mounting bracket and finagle this line just a little bit to give us the right amount of clearance. But I think we got it in a pretty good situation. Now we have to do the cold side where it wraps around here and then goes up to the throttle body. So let's try and fit that part next. All right, so now it's time to change out the stock fuel pump for the Deutschwerks upgraded one. To get to that, we got to pull the seat out so that we can get this bar out and get access to it. We already pulled the small seat out. Now we're going to pull this bolt, and I got the bolt out on this side. We'll get this piece out. It'll give us access to everything. All right, so we got the fuel pump out and we got the assembly disassembled. You can see right down here. And this is the factory fuel pump. This is the Deutschwerks fuel pump. If you were to look at them side by side, you couldn't really tell a difference between them, except for this one says that it gets down in parties. So we're gonna go ahead and swap this out. Comes with a new strainer and everything, and get it slapped right back into the same location. All right, so we're getting real close to completion. And one of the last things we wanted to put on is the valve cover because we didn't want to scratch it or dirty it up. So like we told you before, this was refinished by Charlie Moa out of state. So when he does it, he also removes the baffle plate so that no sand from the sandblasting process goes in there. So we reinstalled it. We put our new seal kit in here, and TJ's putting clean the old Honda Bond off the head where you need to put Honda Bond to seal it, which is on these two corners. And we're gonna put some new Honda Bond, slip the head on, valve cover on, tighten everything up, put our coils in, and then we're gonna start bleeding coolant and bleeding the supercharger system because we have to prime the supercharger, and there's a procedure for that. So we're getting real close and starting to look like a complete project. All right, so now we have almost everything done. TJ is logging into the Flash Pro with the Honda. I think you gotta turn the key on.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the map real quick.
Then we have the map that Andrew had from about 8-9 years ago, and we're gonna try and use that to start it. At least maybe the car will drive to the dyno instead of having to get towed there. But we're gonna reset our injector size and see how everything goes.
You want thousands?
Yeah, 1000 cc grams if there's an option. I don't know if it has it. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're gonna upload it and try and crank this baby up. Let's see.
Okay, I think we're ready to go now. TJ, go ahead and give us a couple of cranks there.
All right, ready?
Go for it. The power band. All right, so here it is. Everything's up and running. TJ's gone ahead and changed the map to compensate for the new fuel injectors and the increased fuel pressure that we're getting from the upgraded fuel pump. We're bleeding the coolant. We just ran a little low. I think we can add some more to this. We're also bleeding the oiling system for the supercharger and making sure everything's right where it needs to be so this car can get driven right and tuned and everything's perfectly safe. So we keep adding oil here to the reservoir because as it goes, it takes the fluid out the bottom of it through a filter into the supercharger. Supercharger is the pump, moves it out to this cooler in the front, sends it through here, up to here. I can already tell the fluid's getting hot, so that means everything's working. And that's it. We just keep purging this out, checking the level. We're doing the same thing with this. So as we go right now, we still have to try and fit the bumper to the intercooler. We'll see how much modification that's going to take, but we're definitely in the home stretch. She's up and running. So from here on out, it's just cosmetics. All right, so we got everything up and running. We have a few more tweaks we're gonna do to the engine, including we got a 4-bar map sensor Honda that's gonna compensate for the additional boost on the system, and we're gonna change the spark plugs out to some a little bit colder. Now we're at the point where we're gonna try and fit the front bumper, but the intercooler and the piping is interfering with the fog lights on here, and there may be some minor trimming we have to do on the actual grille part. So we're gonna start by removing the fog lights and then test fitting and seeing what we come up with. So let's go ahead and do it. right, guys, so we just finished wrapping up Brent's Rotrex Kraftworks Supercharger Kit. Everything fit with some trimming and modifications, as you would expect with any kind of aftermarket modification of the car this extreme. Now, the car has not been tuned yet, so we haven't taken for a test drive. It is running a little bit lean at idle, so we're gonna have the tuner deal with all of that. But overall, pretty impressive kit. Can't wait till we get it tuned and we get to actually drive it and get some drivability and feedback on what a difference it made over stock, which is gonna be pretty severe. I think this car made like 240 or 230 before this, maybe 235. So it should be making close to 400 with all of this work done. But for now, this one's done and wrapped up. We have a whole bunch more coming. We have my cars coming up, finally. I get to make some progress on that and get it ready to go to the tail of the dragon again. We have Brian's car coming up, that's gonna be a whole nother restoration OEM plus like we did with his TLX. Maybe not as extreme, but definitely very interesting. And a bunch more different projects on the docket, and we're gonna get it all coming to you right away. So make sure you guys follow us, subscribe, tell a friend, and like. Drop us a comment. Be sure to come back for the next one.